4 downs is now. Let's take a look back. The weekend that was. We'll usually do this, of course, on a Monday, but with Labor Day, we got some extra football on a Monday night. Cooper Mays, what should people do to follow the program?
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
Thank you, Coop. And what down?
Coop here. First down.
Let me ask you this, Caleb. Is the SEC as a whole up or down compared to last year?
I think right now you would say, and this isn't just based on this weekend, you would say down just because the quarterback play in the SEC is significantly worse than it was last year. I think it will still right the ship, but I think the SEC does have an issue with quarterback play. And as we talked about with John, with coaching in a lot of places. But if anybody has a reason to celebrate that, it's Tennessee, because you know who doesn't have a problem with quarterback play or coaching? Tennessee.
You're right. I mean, Tennessee is absolutely poised. And I was too young to think about this at the time in 94, 95. But with the other coaches and the quarterback play that was to come and a young Peyton Manning, Tennessee's poised to win a championship. I mean, they're poised. Now, I'm not saying they will, and I'm not predicting that, but they're poised to get there and win. And when it comes to preparing in a college football playoff environment, I'll take Josh Heupel over just about any game planner altogether. Travis says the SEC is down. I'm going to agree with you and allow for some more comments to come in. I think it is because strictly quarterback play, but at the same time, down or not, Florida has been down, and I don't know that they upgraded. I didn't think they upgraded with Billy Napier at the time, but I feel like that's been proven through 14 games now of his career at Florida. I thought that Shane Beamer had a great run. Congratulations. But we know why South Carolina lost or beat Tennessee. Okay. That part of that was off-field issues. That wasn't a cut and dry beat you on the field, not taking anything away from them. And then we saw Clemson, which I want to get to. We saw what happened to Clemson over the weekend. I think it's down. And I think that you're going to have to see some special coaches. But listen, there are only so many special coaches, guys. That's the thing you got to remember. There are only so many Josh Heupels out there, Caleb, that I think are special. And I'm not just talking about the offense. I'm talking about the culture. I'm talking about the willingness to give it to Tim Banks and find a complimentary defensive coordinator that can come up with a vertical pressure game. Those guys aren't out there. You can't just say, I'm going to go hire this guy because he's that. Now, I think Lane Kiffin is the guy that could take a step up in programs and have success somewhat at that level if he got to the place like Florida. But who else? Who else do you look out there and you say this guy could take that step up, be it a better program, and suddenly we're talking about an elite coach? Anybody on your radar?
Not somebody that I wouldn't say is like a CEO, like a Deion Sanders that we talked about. Because like otherwise, like you're right, Lane Kiffin, if Lane Kiffin takes over a program, he's running the offense. We have an offensive coordinator, but Dave, he's running the offense. And then he's going to pull a Josh Heupel. He's going to find the right defensive coordinator. It's kind of the reverse with Nick Saban. I think we all agree, right? Nick Saban, he's running that defense. That's his defense, isn't it? Regardless of who the defensive coordinator is at the time, whether it's Kevin Steele or whatever.
And to some extent, other than the Lane era, it was his offense too, because he wanted the offense to complement the defense.
Yeah, no, that's actually a great point. He made a lot of hires specifically. Brian Dabble and Mike Locksley stood out the most for that, where that was Saban.
And I'll probably repeat myself, Caleb, but I'm telling you, a coach on his staff said he would tear up an offensive game plan on a Thursday night and say, do it again. I mean, that happened. They knew the plays. I'm not saying the players would run different plays, but as far as the approach, philosophically, he would do that with an offense. Okay, what down is it there, Coop?
Cooper Mays here. Second down.
Oh, yeah. The Clemson era, is it officially over right now?
Yes. I'm going to say
nope.
Yes.
Here's why you're wrong.
Okay. I'm all ears.
It was over the day Britt Venables took the Oklahoma job.
Oh, so it's okay. Okay.
I had a coach tell me that at the time, and I wish I would have said it, but he took half of the game off of Dabo's plate. You don't even have to worry about it. And Steve Spurrier had that guy, I can't remember his name, African-American gentleman who I thought was a great defensive coach, Charlie Strong.
I thought Ron Zook hired Charlie Strong. Was Charlie Strong under Steve Spurrier's staff?
Check me on that. But he was able to hand over. Maybe I've got the names confused, but he was able to.
When he won the national title, he had Bob Stoops.
Stoops. Excuse me. I got my names mixed up. So he had Stoops. My apologies. So I don't think that Clemson has that any longer.
No, and it's funny. It goes back to what we talked about just the previous down, which is that, I mean, the mark of it, if you're going to be an offensive coach, you got to make sure you hire the complimentary right guy on the other side. I remember after Bob Stoops left, Dave, you probably remember this too. Steve Spurrier's hire after Stoops was John Hoke, who was awful, who was a terrible defensive coordinator. And John Hoke, there's a picture. I know you said it was. There's a picture of him looking dumbfounded on the sideline when Travis Stevens ran for 230 yards on Florida. John Hoke having no idea what's going on. So, yeah, I think that I could see that. I just would have thought Dabo would have made the right hires. Dabo always struck me as kind of the CEO type who made the right hires. I thought Garrett Riley was a good hire. I know you bring up Brent Venables, but, I mean, Cade Klubnik looked as bad last night in the loss to Duke as he did against Tennessee back in the Orange Bowl. That's looking like that wasn't a fluke, how bad Cade Klubnik played.
Yeah. Listen, Tennessee was very fortunate that John Chavis was not a people person, and he didn't do great in interviews, and he never got the head coaching job he wanted. They were very fortunate that he was stuck in that position, and he didn't get another gig. Brent Venables must have been better in the interviews. He must have come across better because he got a job like Oklahoma. I'll say this. I mean, that's not a job where you go hire a coordinator. You hire a proven coach. I don't care if it's a thug like Urban Meyer. That's who you hire. You don't go hire a coordinator. I think that Clemson was over the day that Brent Venables got the offer for that job. Not even took that job because I know he was going to take it. But when he got the offer, I think it was over. What down is it, Coop?
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
Deion for real, yes or no?
Mm-hmm. I'll say yes as a recruiter. I think Deion is a smart.
No, you can't. No, you can't caveat it.
Fine, yes. I'll go yes. Okay. And the reason is because he can recruit.
I will go yes for now. I don't think it'll hold up because I think his coaching staff will get poached. And I think unless you're the right guy.
He's going to be in a situation where he'll have his pick of the litter of good coaches as assistants after these coaches get poached.
Fair point.
I mean, one of the things that hurt, I think one of the things that hurt Fulmer with the Dave Clawson hire, you probably know this, Dave, you were knee deep with the program. You're right. He could have hired Gus Malzahn, but it probably was harder to have his pick of the litter because there were talks that he was on his last leg at Tennessee. And I think a lot of assistants may have been like, I'm going to steer clear of that.
Yep. Good stuff. I think he's for real for now. I want to see what happens when he doesn't have – his son was special. I knew that going in. And his son was a special quarterback. I didn't think he'd be that good in game one. So remember that. He has a year left. And then he could go to the NFL. Maybe he stays with NIL money. Who knows? But and remember this too, that Colorado is probably going to be a glass ceiling in terms of talent and in terms of exposure. I mean, the SEC and the Big Ten, I think, are going to continue to grow in the exposure that they get. Fourth down brought to you by Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. They want to be your jeweler looking for affordable game day jewelry. How about the Fire Opals? Those are a Tennessee tradition. Go to rickterryjewelry.com. That's rickterryjewelry.com. What down is it, Coop?
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. Fourth down.
All right, so I just want to ask you. I want the Caleb call for fourth down. What was your biggest takeaway about only one team from the weekend? Mine was Colorado and what they did. I did not think that they would be good in their first game. I did think Deion would have success at Colorado. So what about you? Your one biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway about one team is Georgia. They got an issue. They got an issue because of Mike Bobo. Their quarterback situation is not good with Carson Beck. And I think we talk about the SEC being ripe for the taking with the exception of Georgia. Dave, I don't know if Georgia's an exception this year. That's crazy to say, I know. But I don't know if Georgia's an exception. I think they might be down with the rest of the SEC in offense. And a lot of people are going to start celebrating Stetson Bennett after this year.
Yeah. I think Stetson Bennett as a leader, as a fourth quarter playmaker, was undervalued last year, and we got a lot of Georgia fans that thought I was stupid, you were stupid. I did some Georgia shows that I didn't think Mike Bobo was a great hire, and I think you've got Alabama and Georgia in Nick Saban and Kirby Smart that are going to run more pro style ball control sets. Not really pro style. I don't want to say it like that, but ball control sets. Does that make better sense? I mean, not flinging it all over the place, but I just don't see that that's going to be the long term answer for winning in college football. And I think the long term answer is, quite frankly, what Josh Heupel's doing. I don't think this is a flash in the pan. You could have argued that last year was a flash in the pan, but that would be another big takeaway. The way Tennessee played, the culture's still there, the defense is better. Joe Milton lived up to the hype. He's not going to play perfectly all year, but that's another big time takeaway. Wow. Somebody else arrested at the University of Georgia. Unbelievable as these traffic issues continue to happen. We will get to that in a moment. Anything else you want to get to as far as four downs? We might need a fit down like the old Colorado game, but anything else you want to touch base on before we get to another Georgia staffer? Breaking news today that Georgia had another player arrested for a traffic incident. Anything else you want to hit on in four downs? I'll give you 5, 6, 7 downs.
Yeah, a few things. One, I said last week, college football's cheating the fans with these bad slated games. They're also cheating the fans with running the clock. You would think that if the running the clock on the first down, the time of the game would be like the NFL. The length of the game was the exact same. They just ran more ads. So fans are being cheated with fewer plays and just as long. Pac-12, 13-0 right now. No Pac-12 team has lost. They're 2-0 versus the Power 5. Not bad for a folding conference.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is. I'm not going to overreact to the Florida State statement win. I think that game just got out of hand too quickly in the fourth quarter. I still don't think Florida State is good. And look out, along with Georgia, Ohio State has a quarterback issue too. That Kyle McCord, I might be calling for Ryan Day to be fired.
Listen, I thought that Tennessee would be in a position to make a run for a national championship. And I don't want to overstate this, and I don't want to get people too excited because it's one game. I thought they would be in a position to make a run at a national championship in 2024. My question would be a rebuilt offensive line. But what did I see on Saturday? I saw some depth in being able to bring in an Ollie Lane, the Andre Keurig cat. I see the fact that they're building depth there. So without Cooper Mays, they still look good. I saw a defense that's improving and seems to have a real plan. And then all the things that you mentioned as a backdrop, Tennessee be in the national championship game this year. I'm not ruling that out. I'm not, because a lot of good programs are down.